let's see. I am trying to see if I am live or not. I think we're live. I think we're live. All right, so let me know if you can see me because I see me, so I think we are okay. All right, if you're here, just go ahead and pop in the chat. Let me know that you're here. And I will go ahead and get started. All right, we'll move this out. All right. It's just my computer is lagging a little bit. So I'm going to move this. Okay. Great. All right. So we are going to go ahead and the whole point of doing these Thursday lives is that I want to encourage you guys to craft your stash and work with the supplies that you have on hand. So I'll be doing a project and you're more than welcome to craft along with me doing the same project if you have the same supplies. If not, go to your stash, see what you can substitute to make something similar to what I'm making, or just take this time to work on any other crafty project that you happen to have just waiting for you to work on. This is just time to put aside for us on Thursday nights for about an hour to craft together. So I put together this card for you guys since Father's Day is coming up. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Here we go. So it's basically, around the idea of a pegboard. So on the front, it has our sentiment: father, friend, hardworking, teacher, hero, world's best dad. I love you very much. Strong, brave, patient, dedicated. And the idea is that this is kind of like a sign hanging up on the pegboard. And then you open up the card and there's the rest of the pegboard with the tools. And then the sentiment: Happy Father's Day to the best dad ever. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into getting this card created. So first things first, this is a mini slim card. So I'm going to need a mini slim card base that I just didn't happen to grab. Alright, I have some of these pre-made ones I'm going to use. And I am creating this 3-panel card. So by using our bone folder, can fold this and then fold this one. Go ahead and let me know if the sound is okay. I did some playing with it earlier today, so it should be all right. So for our first part of our card, it's going to go like this. I just got to move this over so I can see what I'm doing. And then the second part is going to open like this. So what I'm going to do is, nope. Yes. Let me just double check that. Yeah, okay. So basically when you close it, then it'll be like this. And then it opens up like an accordion, sort of. So I'm going to adhere both of these cards together to make one card. And I think I cut off a little bit off of one side. I'm going to try not to do that this time because I ended up with some extra space that I didn't need. So I'm just going to go ahead and put some adhesive down on this side of the card. Then adhere this other one down. So it should go like it should go like that. Okay, so no trimming was actually needed. So that's good. All right, so the next thing is we're gonna make this pegboard. Now, it's not like your typical pegboard. Usually the dots are all lined up so that they make squares, but this is more like diamonds or whatever the other name is for a square that goes like that. So what I've done is I pre-cut out some of this, I forget the name of the cardstock, but this tan cardstock, and it kind of has like where you can see the fibers in the paper. So I like that because it's kind of like wood, and more realistic to a pegboard. So I'm gonna need my embossing folder, which I am using Swiss Dots from Tailored Expressions. And I'm gonna zoom out just a little bit for right now. All right. This was a freebie, I think, last month. If you spent like $100, you got 2 embossing folders, and this was one of the 2. I'm going to clear our workspace just a little bit so there's not a lot of distraction. But if you saw my craft table, you'd see I don't have much space to work with. And feel free to say hi in the chat. Let me know if you are going to be making this card or remaking it using supplies that you have, or if you're just working on something completely different. Actually, what I want to do is I want to put this on the top part. And tape it down so that when the dots indent on the paper, they're not indenting over the tape. So that's why I flipped it over. And I just have my Big Shot over here to the side. So I'm going to stick it in and run that through. And I've been having some problems with mine actually being too tight. And that's why I have like that little imperfection. Okay, so this I know why it's too tight, because I have it on the, not the embossing platform. So now it's on the embossing platform. It goes through just fine. So now I can take that out. And then we've got our texture from our embossing folder. I'm going to just reuse these strips of tape and do this 2 more times. So this whole concept of craft your stash kind of came about when I was realizing that I was buying more supplies than I was actually using. All of these supplies I'm using tonight were actually brand new to me before I created this card. So that kind of tells you something. I'm doing a little bit more shopping than I can create or have time to create. So that's why I thought these lives might be cool. See, it's getting tight, and there's no reason for it to get tight like that. But I thought it'd be cool to do these lives just to give myself and other people a chance to, find time to craft with their supplies that they have not used. I mean, the ultimate goal, I guess, right, is to use all of our supplies. Alright, so this will be the last one. Just making sure that's straight. See if it has a hard time this time. The problem is that these 6x6 embossing folders are the exact width of these plates. So if they are just like, if your embossing folder is over the edge just a slight bit, like you can see what happened here, it got bent. It will, it'll do that and warp your embossing folder. So it's important just to make sure it's right smack in the middle of your plates. Alright, so now I've got my 3 panels, and let's go ahead and adhere these down. So one will go here, and I don't know if I gave you the size of these. I cut these down. So the mini slim is 3.5 by 6 inches. So I cut these down to 2 3/4 by 5 3/4. And so that they're a little bit different than when I did this the first time. There was no space on the edges. I'm giving it space on the edges just to make it a little bit more clean. And so that when I'm folding it, it doesn't have problems or get stuck. So let's go ahead and adhere these down. Allison. Yes, I should talk about that. There is a new handout on my blog, and I forget exactly what it is called. I know it's one of my Craft Your Stash printables, but it basically goes through, kind of the psychological aspect of why we buy craft supplies even though we have plenty to use, and it breaks things down into helping you actually craft your stash and using your supplies. So it's a pretty good handout. You can find it on my shop page on my blog if you're interested. I actually, if my husband is watching, I have a printout of it in the living room. I don't know if he can grab that if he's watching still. Alright, so here is our pegboard. And I pre-cut some pieces already just so we didn't have to waste time with that. But I'll tell you exactly what I did. So Tailored Expressions has this die called Tools of the Trade. So it has a bunch of tools you might find in a workshop, and on the back here you can see there's 4 different tools, and then there is, for 3 of the tools, there's these little plastic handles that go onto them. So when you put them together, it looks like this. So what I did is I first had some silver paper, and it was a matte type of silver, I actually think I got it at Joann's during their closing sale. And, but you could find it anyway. I think everyone does a silver matte paper. But I just ran my dies through the die cutting machine, the actual tools, to cut those out. And then I ran the plastic parts through. And this time I did blue instead of green, just to mix it up a bit. But what I also did is I kept, and let's see, I'm over here. I kept the outlines of the tools, just like I kept this one. And that was so that I could kind of make these shadows onto the pegboard where, you know, like they show in cartoons and stuff, if you remove the tool from the pegboard, it's been there for so long, so like it kind of leaves like an impression almost. So for that, I took this cutout, cut out each tool individually so I could get an idea of, you know, its placement and everything. And I'm going to go ahead and we're going to get started with it. I have some masking post-it notes, so I'm going to reuse these. And I'm just using some macchiato ink from Catherine Pooler. And I have two brushes here. When I did the first time, I used this brush, which I think it made it go on a bit darker than I really wanted, but I also did not want to go outside of the stencil too much. So I'm gonna see what we can do here. So the first thing I did was kind of line up my tool where I wanted it to be. So this was my hammer, and then this is my screwdriver. So that's a pretty good placement for the hammer. So I took my stencil and just placed it over gently where it's at. Removed my tool and then just made sure that this is straight. And then tape it down. Okay. And then before shading, I masked off the areas where I did not want to get the ink. So all around the stencil, basically. And to not waste post-its, I did a little bit at a time. And then I moved the post-its when I was done with a certain area. Okay, this is what I mean. So if I use the big brush, it's going to take over a large space. I could go ahead and use another post-it because I feel like the ink might go on a bit lighter if I use the bigger brush. So I am going to try it, but if it doesn't seem to make a difference, I'm going to go back to the smaller brush. Let's move some things out of the way. So we just have our ink and our card. So I kind of just brushed along my ink pad and then brushed off some. And then I went ahead and started shading. Now I can already tell that this is going on much lighter. So I'm just going to ink it up a little bit more. Probably don't need to tap off really. I actually think I'm going to like it lighter than it was the first time. Just remove this real quick, and we can see here how it is, so that's fine with me. So now I'm going to maneuver these around so we can get the rest of the hammer. I'm going to try to be careful not to get my card in my ink. So let me know if you guys have plans for Father's Day. I know we're still maybe 3 weeks out. I think my parents are going to come and visit, which is nice because I haven't seen them in a bit. And hopefully the whole family can, with my husband and my daughter, we can all find something to do. So I have a little bit of a harsh line right here, but it also isn't going to matter because the tool is going to go over top of this. Okay, I think that's good enough. That's what we want to do, right? You just make it good enough. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so we have our outline then for a hammer. And now you can see I'm going to put it on, and let's see what I did last time. I went down and right a little bit to get the shadow. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this. Using some liquid glue. Oops. Working too fast. Working too fast. Slow it down. Right, guys? I use liquid glue because of the texture on here. I think it would adhere a lot better than my tape runner adhesive, which I normally use. Oh, thanks, Allison. Yeah, I thought this was cute. What I do is I usually get a lot of inspiration from Pinterest. So I will find, I'll start with an idea, and I wanted to do tools Father's Day. And then I look up ideas, and I ended up taking a bunch of ideas from different cards and combining them together to come up with the concept for this card. So there was no one idea that was like this, but it was a combination of them. Actually, let's get our screwdriver, put that on first so we can see how it's going to be in relation to the hammer. I think that would be good. I'm going to go ahead and put our stencil down over top. Bring our die cut piece out. And then tape this down. I'm trying to make sure it's straight. It's kind of hard to tell. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and mask off. Then tap our brown ink. And go ahead and start shading. Tell me, guys, how do you come up with your ideas for cards? Do you just randomly come up with an idea and then start making it? Do you sketch it out? I actually did sketch this out. I don't have the paper or sketch in front of me, but I looked at all of my dies and such and did a true to scale sketch. I have some downloads on my website if you're interested. There's some sketch downloads where you can do the right, like the same size card, like an A2 card. You can do it vertically, you can do it horizontally. You could do a mini slim vertically or horizontally, and you can do a 6x6 card. And it just gives you the space to sketch it out and then the lines to write down, you know, what supplies and tools you're going to need. And then I have another handout, which is one of, no, I didn't use that one. There's another one that I use for taking notes when I'm watching lives like this for cards that I want to make later on. Because sometimes when I watch these lives, like you are, I like to just watch and not actually craft, especially sometimes I'm not able to craft. You know, during the day, I'm a stay-at-home mom. So sometimes, you know, my kid's playing, I'm letting her play, and I like to just kind of scroll on YouTube for a little bit and watch some lives and just chill. And then I keep those notes and ideas in mind. The next time I have a chance to craft, then I go ahead and craft some of those ideas. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and put our screwdriver down. We don't lose it under our cutting mat. Or glass board, I should say. Again with the liquid adhesive, which also gives us some wiggle room. So we're doing down and to the right. And holding that down. Okay, so for the next one, the wrench, I actually made a mistake when I did this. So I had planned to put the wrench upside down because there's a hole on the handle, and that's typically how it's hung up. But I did it the other way around and then ended up putting my pegs here. So this time I'm going to do it the right way with the hole up here. And actually, I wonder if there was a reason I did that, because when I do put it down this way, you're going to lose most of the detail of the wrench. So let me know what you think. Should I put it upside down and just hope the person looking at it, in this case probably a dad, doesn't really care or mind that? Or should I put it the right way and risk covering most of it with our inside sentiment here? I think I'm going to move on to my next one for now until I figure out what I want to do. Now I just have to find the rest of my stencils. Here we go. The pliers were done right, so we're good on that. So I did these about here. Put on our mask. Take out our pliers. And adhere. This is a low-tack highlighter tape. This is great for working with small die cuts and stuff like this that you just want to hold down temporarily, especially the paper. Let's see. Yeah, maybe there's a magnet there. I like that, Allison. Something that's holding it up. Because you want to see the detail. That part isn't really important to see. Alright, so now we're going to mask off some area. Now this has this little piece. I could use temporary adhesive to adhere it down, but I'm just going to hold it. That seemed to work fine last time. So go ahead and shade that in. Does anyone have any fun plans for the weekend? I don't think I have a plan whatsoever. I haven't even thought about it. I wonder what the weather's going to be like. I know it's been really crappy this past week here in Jersey. It's just been raining all week. I think we started off the week with our power going out. Maybe that was last week, I don't remember. Because we got a really bad storm. I don't know if you guys are getting some of these storms that have been going across the U.S. But some of them seem to be pretty wild. Okay, now we're just going to glue this down. There is one little piece here I need to pop out. If I can find my tweezers, I'm going to just use some scissors. Okay, so down to the right. Just hold that down for a second. All right, one more. So we've decided that we're going to put it upside down. Let's go ahead and figure out our placement. I'm trying to put these as high as possible so that I have enough room down here for a sentiment without losing the details of everything. See, at least like this, you don't lose too much of the detail. It's only a tiny bit. But you at least like get the green part and can see exactly what it is. This one's not even going to get green on its handle. Okay, move that out of the way. And see if I can reuse this tape. I feel like I have more around here. Okay, then we can mask this off. I don't know about you guys, but I grew up with my dad having a toolbox in our kitchen closet. We didn't have a shed or anything like that at that time. And I remember I could find any tool that I needed to work on something, whether it was putting together a piece of furniture or hanging up a picture. But I always knew I could find the perfect tool. And that was something else I was thinking. I was just like, maybe I could have made a toolbox, like a red toolbox. That would have been cool too. But really, you just have to look at your supplies and see what you can come up with. Like, I didn't have any type of pegboard die or embossing folder, but I had a dotted embossing folder. So I was able to turn that into something that I wanted that I didn't have. I didn't go online to search for one to purchase. Just using the supplies I had at hand. That's the whole point, right? Craft with your stash. Alright, so now we can take all of our masking. Move those to the side. We can glue our wrench down. So feel free to let me know what you guys are working on right now. You know, you may be working on Father's Day cards, general summer cards, graduation cards. There's a lot of things coming up. And if you're just chilling and watching, that's cool too. Might be able to hear my daughter in the background. She's okay. She's with Dad. All right. So next, clean the kitchen. Yeah, that's good. It's a good thing to be doing around this time. All right. So to add more dimension to these, I decided to pull out some similar colored ink. So I have All That Jazz from Catherine Puller, just a nice teal ink. I have some tape left over on these, so I'm trying to get off. Okay. And did not grab a brush out for this yet. So I have a teal colored brush. Let's see how saturated this ink pad is. Okay, it's not too bad. So I'm just going to, let me go ahead and go in a little closer for you guys. So I'm just going to go on the left and right edges to kind of give it an appearance that it is 3D and round. Turn that around. You really don't need too much, just a little bit. And it'll look like it's a lot more once you put it onto your card. But these are the little details that I love adding to my cards. Especially like scene building type of cards. It just like makes it so much more realistic. Okay, so that will go there. And I'm just going to go ahead and do them all before gluing them down. So this one's for our wrench. I actually feel like this could be a little bit darker. I think this ink pad needs a little bit of re-inking, or maybe just need to dab it more. Yeah, then I'm going to go back and do a little bit more on the other one. Because this one looks good. Try to be careful not to bend it. These pieces are so small. But they're cute. They are absolutely adorable. I think the ink is just more saturated on this side. Alright, and now the pliers. This is really tiny. But let's see how these go. So go like that. So I'm going to do it on the outside. I feel like I'm inking my finger up. Move this up a little bit for you guys. Sorry if you couldn't see it. My vision isn't the greatest, so a lot of times I put things right in front of me while videotaping and I don't realize it. And then the outside of this one. These over here. Clean this up. Clean up my finger a little bit. Alright, and then now we can glue these down. Start with our hammer. You can see now the shading just makes all the difference. Then we're going to be adding white highlight marks too, to make it look like they're shining. And our last one. And our last piece. At least the liquid glue gives you a little bit of wiggle room. Move things into place. So that is our tools. Now, let's see what else we've got. So we have the sign to work on, and then the inside sentiment, which actually comes from these For Him Insiders from Photo Expressions. And I think I'm going to stick with the same ones. Or this one, for all the wonderful things you do that might not always get noticed, thank you. You know, like fixing up the house with the tools that they have. So that's about the same size, so that would work too. I don't know. Which one do you think, guys? I'm kind of torn between the two. These are going to have to be cut down regardless. The thank you one. Okay, let's go with that. Since that's not what I did the last time, that way I have a different option. So I think what I did is, so across this is, what did we say? We said this was 3 1/4. So I'm going to make this 3 inches across. So I'm going to go ahead and just trim this down a little bit. Yeah, that's a nice sentiment. I actually think I messed that up. So I'm going to grab another one. Hopefully I have one. No, I don't. Okay. I'm just going to work with it. I cut down a little bit too much. Okay, so it's going to be just a little bit smaller, but it will still do. So this I'm going to adhere with my tape adhesive if I can find it. That's always the struggle, is while I'm creating, finding the tools that I need that I had just a second ago. I'm just going to center this. Hold that down for a second. Okay. And then next I have our front sentiment. So I die cut this using the largest stitch rectangle from Tailored Expressions, mini slim stacklets. And what I did to do this was, and let me go ahead and back out while I'm thinking about it. So I'm going to put this where I think it should be at the top. And then I'm going to end up going back in to cut the bottom. So I just got to empty off my big shot that I'm using for storage right now. Just make sure this is straight because I know I didn't stamp it straight. And we gotta change this to the die setting because we had it on the embossing setting. So strange. I don't know why my headphones just turned off. Alright, so now I'm going to take this. This is what it looks like. So I want to have a stitched edge at the bottom. So I'm going to place this back on here and it's going to fall into the grooves. I'm just making sure it's, you know, the space up here or down here is the same as up here. And this does not need to go all the way through. It just needs to go through enough to cut this part. Alright, so I can take that off. And so now we've got our little sign. And what I also had done was for this one, instead of shading, because I didn't really have a mask to work with, I just used a sheet of cardstock. So I'm going to create that border as if it has a shadow. So I'm putting it all the way to the bottom and then over to the right a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut to where I have a probably 1/8 of an inch at the top. I'm going to cut against the line here, and then I'm going to cut a little square right here. So here it almost looks 3D, but this little square at the bottom needs to go. Alright, so now you can kind of see how it looks like the others now. And actually, I think I need to cut a square off this side too. Yep. If it's not right, then it is what it is. Alright, yeah, I think that looks better. I'm going to have to go back on my green card and change that. Alright. So now we're going to pop this up with some foam tape. Alright. And I think actually I'm going to wait to put our string on, so let's do that now. So I just have this little bit of silver twine. And this is going to be what, you know, that metal piece that hangs your photo up. It's more rustic. And we need it on the top. And I'm just going to use the foam squares that are on here. Okay. So place that side down. And then place that side down. And then we have a little bit of space here to make it hang on the card. So I'll put it in the middle. So right about there. And then now it's time for our pegs. We need some smaller ones, so just pour more in here. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and one more, 8. And then for the sign, I did the biggest one. I'll just pick that up. It just wants to bounce around. Okay. So I'm just going to go by my first card as a guideline. So I'm going to put my dots. Where I think they should be. Then we can glue them all at once instead of going back and forth between the two things. Oops, that one I flipped over. Got some glue on it, but I don't think that'll show. Alright, and this, surprisingly, is where I had the most difficult time. So I think what I want to do is figure out how far this goes up. Put some glue down. And then maybe hold that in place. Maybe I should use a tape adhesive, but then it would show. And tap some of that glue off. Okay, I'm just going to hold it for a second. Yeah, Allison. So I'm thinking they're like hooks or pegs, and I guess depending whether they're pegs or hooks will determine like whether they would kind of hang on them. But yeah, either way, yeah, it would work. But traditionally, like when I looked in photos, they hang it by the hole in the wrench. Okay, so now I can put my glue down and put my little peg. Okay, that worked out a lot better. Last time I was trying to like actually wrap it around the peg before it was glued down. Just make sure it's good. All right, so let me see. Okay, now our finishing details. So get a white gel pen. We're going to add details, our shine details to our tools. And I always say there's no rhyme or reason for the way that I do this. I just do what I think looks cute. Okay. So, let me zoom out here. So here's a look at our finished card. And then it folds up like this. And I'll open up like this to reveal the message. And here's the green one. So I thought that was fun. I love making my cards realistic. And I can see this is coming up a little bit. So just adjust that a little bit. All right, so while I have you guys, I did want to mention a few things. If I can find the things I wanted to mention. So tomorrow I have another blog post coming out, and it's going to, I'm going to sneak peek it. It's going to feature this card, and there's a special surprise with that one. Also, if you haven't seen already, I'm going to be one of the presenters at the Scrapbooking Fun Summit that's coming up. And I don't have the dates in front of me, but if you go to my blog, the information will be there on the About page. But I will give you a sneak peek, or actually I can just give you a look. I can give you a look at what the card is going to look like for that class. and it is a slider card. So it's in plastic right now, but the little dog slides back and forth. So be sure to check that out. Also, with that summit, I'm going to be doing 2 giveaways, and by the products that I use in my cards, you can tell which companies are going to do the giveaways. And then also, when you sign up, you will get a printout, a color printout of the instructions step by step, and space for notes. You'll also get a Copic marker coloring guide for free. So it tells you exactly how you're supposed to color your images. And then I have this VIP freebie. So if you sign up with the free ticket, you get those other freebies. But if you sign up for a VIP ticket, which gives you lifetime access to the classes, it gives you, which gives you time to watch them at your own pace. With the free ticket, every 24 hours you get access to new videos, but the past videos will kind of expire, so then you won't be able to go back and watch them anymore with the free ticket. But with the VIP ticket, you'll have, from the first day of the summit and on, you'll be able to access the videos. So this is what I'm giving away as a freebie. It's a scene building made simple. So it has a bunch of my favorite dies and tools for creating scenes. So you'll see what my most favorite ones are and what they do and what I use them for. You'll also get a guide for, creating your scene cards step by step. It'll guide you through creating a scene card, some room for making your sketch, things like that. So that will be the free gift for my VIP members. So if you haven't signed up, I will put some information in the description box below as soon as this live is done. And feel free to use my link. It's an affiliate link, but feel free to use my link to sign up. And then I also wanted to give you a sneak peek of another card that I'm going to be doing in another summit coming up, which I'm not going to give any of the details about it right now, but I'm just going to give you a quick peek. Okay? That's it. Feel free to freeze frame and whatever you want to do, but one more time, that's it. Okay? So thank you guys so much for joining me tonight, and be sure to be on the lookout for the replay video as well as another live coming next Thursday. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.